we're in. It's a decent sized mirror. 31. What a result that is, man.
Double up, bro, come on.
Gotta love winter fishing. Winter is still a fantastic time to be out on the bank, and for me, it beats the alternative being sat at home on the sofa. So if you're not going out this winter, you definitely should be thinking about it because there's plenty of nice carp to be caught. Today we're at a venue that's got good winter form. I've actually got the winter ticket on here. It's Booneys Lake on the Manor Farm Complex. I've been fishing here, I've been doing quite well, so I thought we'd bring the cameras down and have a session here and see if we can catch any carp. I'm sure we're in for a decent session if any of my recent trips are to go by, but there's a few things you need to do in the winter to ensure you're going to catch. Like I said, you can catch this time of year, but you need to make sure you do the right thing to put yourself in the best position. We're going to go for a little walk around now, see if we can find the fish. I've got a general idea of where I think they're going to be, but let's just confirm that, get some rods out, get fishing, show you what I'm doing, and hopefully catch quite a few with the lovely carp that live in here.
I'm sure you're sick of always hearing that classic line about how important location is in fishing videos, but it really can't be understated, especially in winter. The fish often group together in large shoals in specific areas of the lake, and it's hard at times to second guess where the fish are going to be. Therefore, ensure you're watching for any subtle signs of carp. Spend time walking the lake and looking out for shows before you decide on your swim. If you find one, you've often found the mother lode.
So based on my experience of fishing this lake in the past, they can basically be in one of two places. In this main bit of the water here, out in the middle, or down in the shallow end where there's a little bay. I actually fished there last night before Mike got here, and I've literally just seen a fish show there. So what I was saying was, I fished there last night, didn't catch anything, and I've been fishing this swim in the middle section and catching a few. The reason I didn't was because someone was here already last night, and when he left he said he had 4. Just seen a fish show as well. So I do think that the fish are obviously in this main body of water, both through the process of elimination of not being down there and the fact that matey caught a couple from here and I've just seen one. So this is where we're going to fish. In terms of the tactics we're going for, in winter I always go for one or two things. I go for like a citrus sort of wake up mix, which there's not much food there, but there's loads of attraction, sort of triggers them into a feeding response, and that's for fishing on the deck. Or it can be on zigs, because they could be in any sort of depth of water and you can't catch them on the deck. Matey last night told me very kindly, cheers, thank you very much for giving me the info, mate. He told me that he caught a couple on zigs last night. I have been catching them on that citrus mix as well, so we're gonna spread our bets a little bit, fish both methods, see which one does best. I'm quite confident that the fish are here, we've got location right. Now it's about getting the tactic right. If we do that, then we'll catch a few carp.
I knew that this area of the lake was going to be somewhere I needed to pay particular attention to, as I'd caught from here on my previous session, and after seeing a show and chatting to an angler who was just leaving, I decided that this was the swim I needed to go in. Time to get the gear out of the van and get a very special bait mix knocked up. It's going to be, I believe, just as important as picking the right location when it comes to winter success.
The reason why I make the mix a little bit thicker than most people would is I want it to actually get to the bottom and sit there and then start pumping attraction up through the water column. But then what I want it to do is sit on that bottom, send food signals up that bring those dormant carp down and hopefully feed on the bait. There's basically no actual food items in here, it's all just attraction. There's the odd bit of hemp and 2 mil pellet, but really the carp's gonna go down there, it's gonna be triggered into feeding by those food signals, and the only thing that it can eat is my hook bait. For me, fishing a mix like this in winter is the only way to go because the carp just really aren't having it otherwise. Right, I can hear the comments already.
How many would you catch without a bait boat?
Yeah, I'm using a bait boat. I know not everyone loves them, and I tell you what, on this venue in spring, summer and autumn, I wouldn't use one at all because it's very bait boat dominated, and I think the fish actually become scared of those tight patches of bait. However, in winter, when the fish are a little bit more dormant, being accurate and on those fish is more important than ever, and I'm fishing this really powdery mix, I just find the bait boat makes life so much easier. I'm not someone who turns away against technology and advancements in fishing like that. I think you should embrace them. And for me, the bait boat is a tool that I embrace, and it definitely helps me catch a lot of carp. So yes, I know some people don't agree with them. I'm sure I'm going to be getting comments about it. Like I said, I can hear them already. But if you're going out to try and catch as many carp as you can this winter, then having a bait boat in your armoury for me, I think is a big edge. It's not to say that you can't catch them without a bait boat. You can catch them casting, spotting a bit of bait over the top, but for me, it's just easier and more accurate and more effective using the bait boat this time of year. Ooh, yeah, we're in. Hey, well, the old zig's gone. Like Ches said to me, he said he has been doing well on the zigs. And whilst I have been doing well in the past couple of weeks or so on the citrus mix, it has slowed down the last couple of sessions for me. So maybe they've moved off feeding on the bottom. They're sitting in that mid-water. That's where you need to go to get the bites. We've not been fishing very long. A little maggoty zig, pulled up tight, dropped back. We're in, come on. Hang on, I think my other rod's in. Yeah, I'm in, I'm a right-hander.
I wasn't expecting a double take, but they can be quite common in winter when you locate the fish. Time to get the cameraman Mike involved in the action to help me land these carp.
Nothing on. Weird. Yeah. Way! Double up, bro, come on! There you have it. They like it on the bottom as well, so. Ooh, little scaly mirror. Ooh, don't come off. Right. That's that one in the net. I'll swap you, lad. Cheers, Brav. That'll do for a winner action, wouldn't it? How long do you reckon they've been out? Half an hour? All of them? An hour max? We've had one on the bottom go and one on the zig. I'm fishing two different spots. So this one's gonna go back out again on the bottom. And then I think what I might do is, on the spot where I've had the zig bite, change them both over to zigs, but happy days, you can't really complain at that. Not been fishing long at all, 2 bites already. This one feels a little bit better. Come on, I really want to catch a good one from this place. Old Stegosaurus. Come on, get your head up just like that. That's what we want. Oh, he's a nice one. He looks like a nice fish. Oh, crusty old thing. Come on, lad. Get in that net with you, mate. Oh, he's big. Come on. Oh, he's decent. He might not be 30, but he's a decent sized mirror. Little scaly one as well. Oh, what a result that is. Right, what I'm gonna do is, that spot out there, I'm gonna change them both over to zigs. That other spot, I'm gonna reel this rod in and get it out there straight away again, because feeding spells can be so condensed in the winter. You don't want to waste any time. We've had a bite, let's get the rods back out there, get the zigs back out there, sort these fish, and then, yeah, hopefully, this is a sign of things to come. But happy with that, well happy. He's a 30. 31. Oh, what a result that is, man. May not be the best season to be out there. It's definitely not May, but winter is still a good time to be catching carp, and to catch big carp as well. I'm buzzing with that. Well, what more can you ask for from a January session? 2 hours in, couple of bites, and one of them's a 30 pounder. Buzzing with that. Tried 2 different methods, fishing on the deck with that Citruz wake 'em up mix, and then with zigs, trying to figure out if they preferred one. Well, we've had a bite on each one, so it seems like both tactics are working. Yeah, well happy with that. I'm gonna get that other fish out and show you him. Nice little lin. And I'm gonna sit back and wait for the action to commence again, which I think could happen. I think we could be in for a good session here. In again, baby. Well, that's that rod we just had the big one on the Citruz wake 'em up mix, out long. So 2 bites on the deck now. It's hard to say right now which one, if they prefer one. But if I could choose one, I'd prefer to fish them over the bay. I think it's just a little bit more peace of mind in what you're doing. And I just know it's so attractive, that mix, that if anything's in the area, they're gonna home in on the baited spot, and then the only thing they can eat is my hook bait. So if I could choose one, I'd go for the citrus mix, but until we know for sure if there's really a strong preference, we'll mix and match. Right now, I'm just happy to be having bites. Yeah, a couple of hours of fishing, 3 bites, 2 spots on the go. Yeah, what's not to like about this? Another one in the net. Oh, sick. I'm never going to complain about bites in the winter, but this one isn't the biggest fish in the world, and I'm very conscious that there could be bites to be had right now. So instead of getting them out to show you, we'll quickly slip him back, get that rod back out and maximise the bite time opportunity, and then hopefully catch another one of them big uns.
It'd been a hectic day, and even though the nighttime action wasn't very common on this venue during the winter, I decided to freshen the rods up as we came into the evening period to try and tempt a bonus carp throughout the hours of darkness.
Very frosty morning, nothing in the night. Quite surprised really after that action we had in the evening period yesterday, but yeah, quiet night. And then as the sun came up this morning, a drop back on the long rod over that little bit of citrus bait. Yeah, we're in again. Haven't even had time to deal with the first fish, and the zig rod's gone. There's a lot of fish out there, and I've been a little bit confused as to why I hadn't caught one. I've seen a couple show. I was a bit worried that the zig might be tangled, but it has just pulled up now. Feels like a better fish, but when you're paying them on size 10 barbless hooks, you're a bit worried about giving them too much, so they all feel like a decent size, to be fair. A little bit of a flurry of action there. Same as yesterday, I'm hoping we can carry it on throughout the day today as opposed to having just those little spells. And catch quite a few carp. Come here, baby. Come on. Come on. Yes. What a stunning carp that is, mate. That's a really nice one. That is a wonderful fish. Look at him. Get in there. Not even had a morning coffee yet. Rod's back out though.
It's all about maximising bite time during the winter, so with 2 bites in quick succession, I want to get the rods back out on the spot as fast as possible.
Oh, honestly, what a session this is turning out to be. In again, on the deck this time, out long, lovely little slow take, fantastic. Yeah, it's still not even thawed out this morning, it's still very early in the day. We're starting to get a few bites together, so I'm very, very happy. If we can keep this going all throughout the day, yeah, I'll be buzzing. Right now, I think that this one's on the bait again. So we've had 4 on the bait, 2 on the zigs. So the bait is proving more effective, but I just think at any moment it could switch over again. It's still not, one's not pulling away so much that I think, right, that's the winning method. The fact that they're both doing bites still, I'm gonna stick with fishing both methods. I think what's happening is the fish are just sort of sat 4, 5, 6 foot off the bottom because I'm fishing quite short zigs, and maybe I'll nick them on the zigs, or maybe all of a sudden they get triggered into feeding by that bait mix, and then they're hitting the deck and I'm getting a bite like that. So right now both methods are working, no need to stick to one. Always a nice one. We'll take him on a January morning. That net lad. Wallop, yes. That will do. Another solid winter carp. What a session. Sometimes in winter you have these epic sessions, and I've got a feeling this could be one of them. You always hope when you have them as well that the cameras show up to record it. So yeah, I'm absolutely buzzing with this. Let's get that rod back out, and then hopefully we've got 5-10 minutes where we can actually deal with these fish. But that spot on the deck, doing quite a few bites, so I'm sure we'll do a few more. Oh, it's cold to water. Another solid hook hold. Those new claw long shanks. I've been after a claw long shank for ages. I love the claw hooks, but the only thing that lets them down, I think, for some rigs, is the shank's quite short. These new long shank ones, I feel so confident in them. We've got to fish barbers here. At no point do I feel like I'm going to lose a fish, because these hooks, just next level. Yeah, definitely done as well this session. So we managed to get that rod back out, and we're in again. We've really found the holding area. And if you can find that on the lake you're fishing, you can have action like this, because the fish are so condensed, they don't really move off either. You might have a bite and the fish might sort of just The other fish in the area might move off a little bit, but then they seem to come back to that same area. That's where they're most comfortable. That's where the water's maybe that 0.5 degree warmer, and that's where they always want to return to. So we've found that here, and it's just a case of picking up bites now and hopefully get through to the bigger fish. Come on, get in there. Lovely, lovely, lovely stuff. How about that for a bit of winter fishing? I think we had like 4 bites, topped off by another 30-pound mirror. We caught a couple of nice commons as well, some really, really lovely dark fish. Yeah, blown away with how well this session's going. A mixture of tactics, both zigs and on the bottom. And I think it's just a case of carry on doing what we're doing and reap the rewards. Winter fishing can be very, very tricky, but right now it feels very, very rewarding, very, very easy, and I'm loving it.
After slipping the mirror back, it was time to get out the 2 commons for photos. The fish in winter are in such amazing condition. It's one of the main reasons why it's so worth getting out there at this time of the year, as you can catch carp when they're looking their absolute best. That flurry of bites also demonstrates the shoaling up of carp in the colder months. Often in winter, you don't just nick a bite, you can have a proper hit of carp if you can pinpoint the location of that mother lode of shoaled up fish.
Now let's talk about the rig I'm using on this session. Now if you follow my angling at all, you will know that I do love a slip running presentation, and that is not the rig that I'm using here. When it comes to winter fishing, I do actually change my rig over, and the reason for that is I don't like fishing with a stiff hook link all the way through. I think that the way the fish feed in the winter, they feed a lot slower, they're not sucking in as hard. I think a stiff hook link, it doesn't fly back into their mouth like you want it to. By fishing with a slightly supple section, I know it's only small, but just having that little subtle braid section on this rig, it really flies back well into their mouth. The rig, I call it a combi multi-slip D rig, quite a mouthful, but basically you've got a combi presentation here, and then you're fishing it multi-style on a little slip D. That's where the name comes from, like I said, quite a mouthful. Having that slip D multi-presentation, it means you can change the hook really, really quickly. A rig's at its most effective when you're using a hook that is as sharp as possible, so being able to change the hook without tying a whole new rig is another massive plus point of this presentation. A new hook pattern on this presentation that I absolutely love. In all my fishing, I pretty much use a claw hook, and I love them, but the only thing I would say about them that lets them down a little bit is, on some presentations, the short shank, it's not as effective as it can be. So we brought out the long shank claw. It's such an excellent hook, honestly. I've used it 6 or 7 sessions now, caught plenty of fish. I don't think I've lost a single one. The thing that makes it so effective is these angled bends and the beak point, and now that longer hook shank, it means that it's so hard for the hook to be ejected once that it's in the fish's mouth. When you're fishing a barbless venue like here as well, having that peace of mind where pretty much anything you hook, you know you're gonna land, it's so reassuring. And as you've seen this session, we've not lost one yet, caught loads and loads of carp on it. For me, this is a perfect winter rig. Hook bait wise, I'm using a really overpowered hook bait in a Citruz glugged up pop-up, and then tipped it with maggots. For me, this is the rig I'll turn to pretty much every single winter session when I'm fishing on the deck. So effective, looks really neat, does exactly what I need it to do. Yeah, for me, it is the perfect rig at this time of year. It's a little bit later in the day now. Had a massive lull in the action. So we're getting to that period now where we had those quick bites yesterday evening. One of the zig rods has just gone. Been super quiet in terms of seeing fish show. Seen the odd fish topping every now and then, but other than that, it's been pretty dead out there. Really thought we'd run out of luck in terms of getting bites. And yeah, this one out of the blue's just gone. And I'm hoping we're gonna go into a little period now where we get quite a few more fish. I know I'm being a bit greedy here, but you've got to be greedy in fishing sometimes.
Oh, check him out. Another wicked mirror. I think it's about 50-50 between the zigs and fish on the deck now. It goes to show you that this time of year you want to fish both methods, because one could work, then another could work. They could both work at the same time. So spread your bets, fish both methods. I'm sure you'll be rewarded. Well happy with this one. Such a cool carp.
Well, I know I'm not reinventing the wheel here, zig fishing, so I'm not going to go through my entire setup, but one thing I do like to do in the winter, to be fair all year round, but especially in the winter, is tip my zigs with a couple of maggots. I just think that little ball of maggots wiggling away, it's so much more enticing for these dormant carp. For me, there's not a better bait in the world than a little ball of maggots, so the fact that there's just one suspended in mid-water for them, as they're there, not really moving, all of a sudden they just see it, wiggling away. They nail it. It's almost like a lure, like you're lure fishing for them. It triggers them into that feeding response. So in the winter when I'm zig fishing, I always put a few maggots on. I will do it all throughout the year, but sometimes you get pestered too much by the silverfish, but in the winter when they've quieted down a little bit, you can really get away with it. So if you're just fishing your zigs and you're not tipping them with maggots, you don't think you need to, give it a go, give it a try, because I'm sure you'll get a few bonus fish from doing it.
With the action looking to have slowed down a little bit, it gave me time to regroup and settle in for the evening. The nighttime period passed without any action, and I woke to a cold, misty morning. With no bites materialising in the early morning, a time which is usually quite fruitful on here, I decided I had to ring the changes to try and make it happen.
Well, we've passed that time in the morning where yesterday we had a few fish, so I'm going to freshen things up. I'm going to re-chuck the zigs, re-drop the bait rod, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to change hook bait colour as well. It might not do anything. I think sometimes people can overthink hook bait colour, but I have found in clear water that hook bait colour, it can play a part. I always remember fishing a lake in the Alps with Jacob, really, really clear, and we're basically fishing the same spot side by side. He was fishing pink, I was fishing yellow, and I was getting loads and loads of bites. He was hardly getting anything. He switched over to the yellow, and then he started catching. That's happened a few times on clear lakes for us. So if you think you should be getting bites but maybe you're not, and it's a clear lake, it might not be the deciding factor, but sometimes changing that hook bait colour over, it can trigger the bite. I have been catching on whites, but yeah, like I said, I'm not going to bite this morning, so I'm going to change over to a yellow. I've done well on yellow here in the past. It really might not mean anything, but it's worth a go. Refreshen all those rods, and hopefully we get a fish off the end of it. Okay, let's talk about winter bait, because for me, it's such an important part of carp fishing this time of year. A lot of people will say to you, location's the most important thing in fishing, and I would agree for that for the most part, but in winter I actually think the bait becomes more important, because you can be on the fish, but if you've got the wrong bait, they just won't feed. My approach to winter bait has changed in the last 18 months or so, and this is from fishing with Alan, who's fished with a guy in Germany called Tobias Steinbrück. Tobias catches loads and loads of carp in the winter, and what he does is, baits quite heavily, but in that bait mix there's actually nothing that the carp can really eat. There's lots of powders, lots of syrups and liquids, a little bit of hemp, and that's pretty much all he puts in. And what he's trying to do there is create this cloud of a bait mix that triggers the carp into feeding. You've got to imagine the carp are just sat there, all dormant, not wanting to move, and this cloud sort of immerses around them, pumping out food signals, and that triggers them into feeding. When they get down to feed on that spot, the only thing there for them to actually eat is your hook bait. In cold water, you want to use a plant-based mix because it's more soluble. This is because it's using unsaturated fats in the mix. Easy for them to digest, easy to pump out those attractions. That's why I'm going for things like hemp, I'm going for citrus, which is a fruit-based bait. I'm going to steer away from things like fish meal because they're just not as soluble in that colder water. That mantra of maximum attraction, minimum food items couldn't be more true with this mix. Pretty much the only thing there for them to actually eat is my hook bait, but there's so many food signals pumping through the swim there. Doing really well for me so far, catching loads of carp. I'm sure it's going to catch a couple more. Well, that just goes to show you, if you feel like you should have had a bite and you've not, sometimes just redoing them, freshening everything up, can work, because that's been out no longer than half an hour after re-dropping them, and we're in again. In the net. Well, a couple of small carp there to end what has been a very productive session. Using both methods, the zigs and fish on the deck, proved to be successful. I think it was a 50-50 split in the end in terms of what did the bites. If you are using that bait, make sure you're not putting any food items in there. Loads and loads of attraction, minimum food items, and that'll get you the bites this winter. Get out there, get it done, catch some carp, because there's plenty to be caught this winter.
As winter sessions go, this one was really up there. Plenty of action, plenty of stunning carp caught, and a genuinely lovely time spent on the bank. What more can you ask for from your carp fishing? I do love my winter sessions, and it's certainly not a time of the year where I'm hanging up my rods, and it shouldn't be for you either. Get out there, get on the bank, enjoy yourself, and catch a proper winter carp.